Manchmal muss es einfach gut werden. Aber warum eigentlich? Weil bei dir nicht nur Rindersteaks saulecker werden, perfekt gegart auf den zart saftigen Punkt. Jedes Grillen ein Volltreffer mit dem Kingstone Kugelgrill Bullet 57 mit Deckel für indirektes Grillen und Aschetopf inklusive Hitzeregulierung. Jetzt bei Bauhaus auch online erhältlich für nur 89 €. Denn es gibt etwas, für das es sich lohnt, alles zu geben. Bauhaus, wenn's gut werden muss.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Kristen, and I'd like to invite you to a conversation about your Kundalini Awakening experience. I am broadcasting to you live today from Santa Rosa, California, United States. And today's subject will be about Kundalini Kriyas. Before we get started, I would like to say thank you to the O'Connor family from the Kingdom of Kerry in Ireland, as this program is a gift from them to you. So thank you to the O'Connors. As has been the case before, we have other areas or other vectors for this information to be given, and so I would like to list some of those for you right now. We have the Kundalini Awakening Systems 1, and that's the number 1.com website. So, for a center of a lot of these teachings, please go to Kundalini Awakening Systems, the number 1.com, that's all one word, to the website. You can also go from there you can go into the YouTube. We have about 220 videos for people to watch regarding the Kundalini and the many ways that we interact with it and it interacts with us. And we have Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 on Facebook, and we have Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 on YahooGroups.com. We also have a group called Kundalini Awakening *, and that is also on Facebook, and another group called Kundalini Ashram on Facebook. I welcome any and all to join those groups if they're interested. For people who wish to donate to what we do here to help keep this information coming out into the public, I would like to give an address. It is Chris Mitchell, and it is Post Office Box, so that would be P.O. Box 2663, Santa Rosa, California, 95405. You can reach Chrism at kfireforall@yahoo.com for the email address. And so, without any more announcements, let's begin. There will be a few announcements at the end that you may have an interest in. Kundalini, once again, for those who are just joining us and who may not be familiar with the Kundalini itself, is an energetic stream of energy that is intelligent. It has its own consciousness. And it resides in the last three vertebrae of the tailbone in the human being. When it is awakened, this energetic consciousness will erupt from that tailbone area into the lower spine and stream up the spine, exiting out the top of the head as one would see a fountain. So you can kind of see the human spine as being a fountain, and the source of that energetic fountain is down there at the last three vertebrae of the tailbone. And it extends, these activation points extend down to the soles of the feet, pulling energy from the earth. When this occurs, a person's neurosystem, physical neurosystem, can go into a very strong convulsion, and the back can arch, and various fantastic phenomena can be experienced, everything from visions to clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, oneness with all creation, oneness with God. This is an extreme event, and this is the gateway towards a new evolutionary point within the human being, and our bodies are wired to have this. This is natural to our human system. You know, even though our science at this point does not understand it, it is still natural to our system, and science will eventually catch up to this. You know, and hopefully, you know, we're adding to that possibility or to that probability with these broadcasts. As the energy makes its way up the spine and out the fontanelle at the top of the head, it's also it'll go from the acupuncture points, and it will. One moment, please. Here, Santara.
Yes, Prism.
Oh,
I think there might be an issue with. I think there's an issue with sound. You're not. It says you're on air, but you're not being heard.
Oh.
There's a call here. Let's take it. One moment.
Okay. Stand by, everyone. I hope I'm being heard here.
Over the computer. It says that you're on air, but there's no timer going, and there's no sound.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that alert, indeed. I appreciate it. Who am I speaking with?
It's David Kindsoul.
David, hello. Thank you very much.
I posted on the wall on Facebook about your show.
We'll check it now, David. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I've been promoting the show because I want people to get the information, and I'd like there to be a reference source that I can refer people to, so I can just tell people, here, go David. Here. I spend so much time explaining so much to so many people.
Hello, Prism?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we're not online. I have to disconnect him. We're not online. I need you to go over to your Skype and see. Oh, no, you're not on Skype. Why aren't we online?
Okay, hang on. I'm on Skype.
No, but you haven't phoned in. You haven't phoned in with Skype, so that's not the issue.
Yeah, I'm calling in. I'm calling in with a telephone. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Should I call back? Can you stay on? Stay on as a host, and I'll call back.
No, none of us are being heard. We're not being heard. You have to make sure you don't end the episode.
I'm not. I'm not going to end the episode. Okay. I'm going to hang up and call back. Thanks. You stay right there.
Okay. Sure. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's David again. Hi, David.
Yeah, we got disconnected.
And we did, and Prism is gone now as well. He's going to phone back in because we're not going live on air apparently, so we need to try and fix that.
Yeah. I'm not sure how to go about fixing that, honestly.
Well, this is the first time it's happened for us, so he's going to see now. We'll try and sort it out. David, will you ring back again when we've this problem sorted, and let me know if we can be heard?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got it sitting open, ready to go.
Oh, okay.
and it won't let me play. When I click on the play icon, it doesn't change.
Okay. I'm going to have to go, David, and try and sort this from this end. Okay,
go ahead.
You.
I'm going to call back.
Okay.
Right.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, Chrism.
Well, David, I want to thank you for calling in. Evidently, we haven't been heard. For some reason, Blog Talk Radio is not broadcasting this for some reason. So for those of you that have been waiting, I appreciate your patience. Can you call in? Can somebody call in and let me know if we're being heard at this time? If not, I will go ahead and...
No, I just got a message on text from Eileen Chrism, and she says she can't hear anything, but it could be her, and neither can David. He said he'd ring back as soon as you came on live.
Huh. I'm not
and
quite
she
sure
can't hear She can't hear either of us.
Well, let's try this here. There. It looks like we have one caller. That would be you, I guess, Amelia.
That's me. Can you not see my name?
I can. So let's go ahead and ask Eileen to call in. If you would Skype with Eileen and ask her to call in.
Okay.
And
okay, I know you could hear that. I know you could hear that. Yeah. I have a very good mute here, Chrism, which I will use during the show, and you won't hear breathing or any sound. So I look after my own mic.
Thank you. It's interesting.
Everything is pointing that we're live on air. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of this.
I'm going to go in while you're there. I'm not in the studio now, so will you answer any calls? I'm going to do something.
Yes, I will. Hello?
Hello.
No, that's...
Chrism?
Hello. Hi.
Chrism, can you hear me?
Yeah. Is it broadcasting?
Oh, Chrism, this is Eileen. I can't hear you on the radio, so I'm calling in to check and see if...
Thank you. Can you go ahead and stay on the radio and let me know if you start to hear any of this?
Can I do it on Skype?
Can you do it on the computer?
On the computer, yes, I will. Will do.
Okay. All right, thank you. And phone in if we're starting to broadcast.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if anyone is hearing this, which is questionable at this point, this is Chrism, and we are trying to get this broadcast working. For some reason, it isn't working, and so, based upon that, I'm going to stay on here for as long as possible. So many bugs with this Blog Talk Radio thing. Yeah. So, see if I can talk to Amelia. Yeah, today was the show about Kriyas. So I think Blog Talk Radio is having a Kriya. Hi, Amelia. I accidentally disconnected. Can you go ahead and call back in the host? Thank you. So, yeah, Blog Talk Radio is having a Kriya. Weird. So, no. It says that we're recording here. I apologize, everybody, for this. I'm not quite sure what's happening here, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about Kriyas because this may be recorded on the archives, although I may even just take it off of the archives and try to do this show again.
I'm online again.
Hi, Amelia.
Hi. This is unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe we should just go back to the way we were doing it before and just, deal with your microphone being weird the way it is. Maybe the fact that I'm hosting this today is what's getting in the way of it. What do you think?
It shouldn't be, Kristen, because we both have access to the studio, but it could be
Well,
these.
hang on. Just hang on. And you stay the host. I'm going to disconnect and call back on the guest call-in line, and then I'll press 1 and get into the host queue, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right, bye.
Right? Okay, bye-bye. Well, I'm going to assume that we cannot... Whoops. I'm going to assume that we cannot be heard, but just in case we can, I think I better do some talking as I wait for Kristen to phone back in. I'm very sorry that this has occurred. Myself and Kristen had decided that we would try a different approach, that I was actually going to use another computer, and at the last minute that caused a problem, so I'm back on my computer again. We wondered if it was my laptop that was causing the sound issue. So anyway, it seems as if something has gone wrong, and I can't see anything in the studio to show what that could be. Therefore, anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit about the safeties. And the safeties are guidelines for a safe and joyful activation. So Kristen says if you are in the process or in process with Kundalini, or even if you intend to be, then the safeties need to be taken on board 3 times on 3 separate occasions so that you can see and feel how they will help you to find and understand the qualities within yourself that you seek. So one of the first safeties is the tongue up. The tongue up completes the cranial circuit, allowing excess energy to bleed down the sides of the neck. Try and cultivate the position of the tip of the tongue resting on the fleshy mound right behind your upper front teeth. And if you can make this a new habit, it makes a big difference. The eyes up is the next safety. And this is the position of looking up towards the brow points, about 1.5 inches above the bridge of the nose. And this is most comfortable, obviously, when the eyes are closed. And the effect of this will be to draw or to pull the Kundalini upwards. So that's the tongue up and the eyes up. And the next physical position is the fingers in position. And this is when you place the thumb tip, and the 4 fingertips joined. That's pressed together. That's the finger and the thumb, with the other finger spread out. And this is known as the finger lock. Oh, there's a call online. One moment now. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Do you know if we're being recorded yet? Or is this broadcasting?
I have no idea. I haven't heard from Eileen, who said I think that she would let us know if we were being heard.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume no, Chrism, that we are not, or she would have alerted me by Skype text.
Right. So let's just
I mean, even if it was taping, this is not going to be a good episode, you know? I mean, there's no point in, you know? I'm looking at I just don't understand it. I tried to go into Blog Talk Radio and see if there has been anything there that could have affected it. Will I try that again?
No. Can you, it says we're on the air, so I'm sure that it's recording, but I don't think that it's not, and I get a question mark next to, you know, I'm not sure what this question mark's all about.
No, that's always there.
Okay. So, we'll probably have to reschedule. I'm not quite sure what is going on, but when we do reschedule the next show, I want it to go just the way we've done it in the past, okay?
Sure, absolutely. Do you want to reschedule for tomorrow?
It says the host is disconnected.
Oh, hold on. Eileen has just 1 second. It says, waiting for host to call in. Eileen says.
Are you on Skype? Can you call in on Skype like you normally do?
That's what I'm doing. I'm on Skype. I've called in on Skype.
Huh. Jeez, I don't know what to do here. Let me try calling in as host as well. Okay, I'll hang up.
You are the host.
I want you to stay in the host in the studio. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I know this is not going to be recorded, but I'll continue anyway, just in case somebody is hearing us. So I was saying tongue up, eyes up, and fingers in position, which was the thumb tip and the forefinger tip joined, pressed together, with the other finger spread out wide, and this is the finger lock. So those would be the three physical safeties that one can do during the day when one is alone, when one is out walking. The tongue can be kept in that position all the time, except when one is eating or kissing or doing something with the mouth. Obviously, the eyes up cannot be done all the time. And Kristen says, especially not when driving, but when one is meditating or just when one's eyes are closed. The fingertip, the fingers in position can be done all the time when walking or when doing activities that you don't need your hands for. And if these become habits, it's a very good thing.
Hello.
The next, hello.
Hello. So I'm calling back in. Is it working yet, Eileen?
Okay, I'm going to try something here.
Okay.
I'm asking her now. So. And again, David did say as soon as we came online, he would come back and let us know. And he hasn't. She says no. So we've got two sources of information. You know, we've got David and Eileen. So the chances are we're not going live at all. I'm just surprised nobody else has called in, like Seabridge or somebody.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a long-distance call. I don't know. Okay, Amelia, would you please mark on the Facebook page that Blog Talk Radio is having difficulties? And
I can do that.
Oh, okay. Well, somebody's calling in. Is that?
You take the call?
I'll take it right now. Hang on. Hello.
Hey, guys. It's David.
Any luck? Did you hear us at all?
Yep. You're live on the computer.
Oh!
Thank you,
David. We live, David.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, David. I'm going to go ahead and try to start right now. And thank you, David, once again.
So you guys are going to record this and keep it available as something that people can refer to, I assume.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. We might do it again.
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I would like to thank David. This is David Sullivan. I would like to thank him for making us aware that Blog Talk Radio is having difficulties. And I would like to thank Eileen Lauro and Aaron Santara for their help in trying to figure this out. Interestingly enough, the show was on Kundalini Kriyas. And evidently Blog Talk Radio is having a Kundalini Kriya today, and we're just kind of working with it here. Kundalini Kriyas are basically the energetic response that the human system will have to the strong energies of the Kundalini. And this is for the remainder of this time, which looks like I have about an hour and 4 minutes left, and so I want to go ahead and talk about this. At the beginning, though, I'd like to go ahead and thank the O'Connor family from the Kingdom of Kerry in Ireland for providing this Blog Talk Radio format to reach the populations of the world with this information. I would like to thank Eileen Lauro for her valuable help in organizing and getting, doing everything she's done for the past 5 years to help Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 blossom and grow. And I would like to thank you, the people who are listening to this program, for without anyone to hear, there's no point in doing this. So thank you very, very much for listening to this program. I want to apologize. At the beginning of this show, everybody was here. We were on time, and I did the introduction, but evidently there was like I said, Blog Talk Radio is having a Kundalini Kriya. So here we are. Thank you for your patience with this. So here we go. When the Kundalini is awakened in a person or activated in a person, the Kundalini is a very, very powerful source of energy that is located in a triangle, basically between the bottoms of the feet, the chakras on the foot, and the last three vertebrae in the tailbone. This has been symbolized by the ancients as a serpent wrapped 3.5 times around an egg, and this egg and this serpent would be at within the last three vertebrae of the tailbone in the human being. When this is activated and awakened, the Kundalini shoots up the spine as an energetic force shooting up the spine, and it emits out the top of the head where the fontanelle is, and surprisingly enough, it literally fountains out of the fontanelle of the human being. And as this occurs, a whole new level of energetic interaction occurs upon the body, and during this type of a spinal sweep of energy, the muscles will respond to this, and you'll have many different contractions and many different movements during this initial event. The back will arch, and the legs will shake and sometimes twist, and it's not painful at all. It actually feels very, very good. It is beyond good, and it's beyond, I think, what human beings can process using words as a communication form. It's beyond words. So as this occurs, a whole system of transformation is being given into the person. And part of this transformation, one aspect of it, is the Kriya phenomena. And this Kriya phenomena is the infusion of the energetic Kundalini upon the neural systems and the muscular systems and all of the motor systems of the human body. But it also goes beyond the human body. It goes straight into the emotional body and into the mental body and into the psychological body. The spiritual body, it really won't do too much with. Okay? And I have to say that here at this place where I'm broadcasting from is an animal rescue, and you'll hear, some of the birds and some of the fellow mortals that have been rescued and are being taken care of here at the place where I'm broadcasting from in Santa Rosa. So if you hear that in the background, which I assume you do, that would be Nikki, a cockatoo from Australia. Anyway, so as the Kriya occurs upon the system, the human body, the physical body, will respond to it by ways of going into certain yoga positions. And it doesn't have to necessarily be of a yoga, a certain type of yoga, but I will suggest to you that all yogas emanate from people observing other people having Kundalini Kriyas. And so with that in mind, you can kind of see the source of yoga on this world. Kundalini comes into the body and it will twist and torque the body into very specific positions. It will force the person to hold that position, whether they are conscious in their body or not. And I mention that because many of these kriyas will happen while a person is sleeping. They will wake up next to their spouse in bed, inside of a yoga position, having never been introduced to yoga. And this will happen over and over and over and over. And even in their waking conscious moments, they will find themselves assuming certain yogic positions. And you'll see a lot of these positions repeated in the Kundalini yoga format. They'll wake up and they'll just be compelled to assume a certain yoga position and hold it and breathe. And if they resist it or try not to do it, it can be painful. And so as you don't resist and as you surrender to this compelling force within you, it feels very good. It feels quite blissful, in fact. And so many of these positions also don't resemble yoga. Sometimes the person is shaking. Their hands are shaking, or their legs are shaking, or their body is torqued one way or the other in a very, very strong and almost mechanical way. And once again, you just want to realize this is a Kundalini Kriya. Nothing is wrong. You are not having a convulsion. You are not having a seizure. You are not going to bite your tongue or swallow your tongue. This is not a medical condition. I want to be very clear with that. This is not a medical condition, but anybody seeing it without knowing what's going on will assume that it is a medical condition. And, they will seek out the various treatments that the medical community has to give, and typically an anti-seizure medication, which you don't need. All you need to do is to match your symptoms of Kundalini awakening with the many, certainly on the Kundalini Awakening Systems1.com site, we have a list of symptoms that a person can access and compare their symptoms to realize that, oh, yes, indeed, I'm having a Kundalini experience, and therefore these positions that I find myself in, these Kundalini Kriyas that are coming to me, are natural to me, and it's helping me, and this is helpful. This is a good thing. And it is a good thing, and it is a transient thing, typically, not all the time. For some people, their karma or their development requires that the Kundalini Kriyas last longer. And for some people, it requires them to have it for a very long period of time, to the point where the Kriya itself goes from an actual physical positioning, automatic positioning, to an energetic electrical force within the body. And I've had these. And these will literally propel you across the room. So, for instance, you'll be sitting in a chair, you'll be doing some meditation, and all of a sudden you get kind of touched with about a 10,000 volt feeling, at the base of your spine or on your back, and your muscles will contract so hard that it can literally toss you across the room. And this is quite surprising. It does not damage you. It does not damage you. And it isn't electricity per se, even though it feels like electricity. These are referred to, not surprisingly, as electrical kriyas. But they are not so much electrical, even though they have that feeling on the body. The kriyas come to a person in order to spread the cellular transformation upon the person through the Kundalini. So the Kundalini energy comes into every cell of the body, and yet it does it in such a pattern and such a way that, first of all, the pattern and the way will be unique to the individual. The pattern and the way will follow levels of karma that the person having this is subjected to. And so each person's path within the Kriya phenomena will be different. So, for instance, if person A is having Kriyas where the legs cross each other and hyperflex the ankle, well, person B will have back arches occurring. Okay, so this is what I mean. The pathway of the Kriya in an individual is different, and within that context, I want you to understand that everybody is different within the Kundalini, and as you have your Kundalini, as you initiate your Kundalini journey, don't have the expectation that your journey is going to be exactly the same as somebody else's, because it will not. Everybody comes to this table with different karma and different karmic requirements, and those Kriyas will reflect those differences in karma. So as these Kriyas come through the body and you start assuming different positions, you'll notice that your forefinger and your tip and your thumb tip will come into the Gyan Mudra quite often. You'll notice that your tongue tip will go up behind the upper front teeth. You'll notice that your eyes will want to go up, 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 almost to the point where only the whites of your eyes are showing. You'll find yourself breathing in different patterns of breathing. You'll find yourself, once again, assuming different physical positions. Shaking sometimes is normal. This is all normal stuff. Assuming yoga positions, normal things. Don't be afraid when this occurs. I want to reiterate, nothing is wrong with you. This is natural. It is part of the Kundalini process upon your system, upon your physical system. At the same time that your body goes through the different physical contortions and positioning from a physical Kriya, your emotional body will also be going through its different positions of a Kundalini nature. So with the emotional body, your mood swings can become extremely enhanced. Okay, you'll go from happy to sad for absolutely no reason. You'll go from happy to sad to dull to the various positions of emotional gradation that your emotional spectrum gives for you to pull from. So happy, sad, angry, joyful, loving, all of the different issues of an emotional quality can be brought to the surface during these emotional kriyas. You'll be crying for absolutely no reason. And as I've discussed in some of the other broadcasts, crying is a natural event within a Kundalini awakening. Crying is a release valve for tremendous amounts of energy flowing through the person. So let yourself cry. Let yourself weep copiously. Let the tears flow. It is absolutely crucial that you allow yourself to do this. Do not let your ego interfere with these tears. Now, I understand that you have to go to work. You have to have a normal, consistent attitude with your children and with your family and with other people that may not be having the Kundalini and may not understand why all of a sudden mommy or daddy or brother or sister are weeping copious amounts of tears. And in that scenario, I want you to communicate with your Kundalini as if you're communicating to another person. Say, Kundalini in me, I cannot be crying during work or when I'm getting the kids ready to go to school. I will give you the rest of the day to do this and my nights to do this, but when I am at work or when I'm dealing with my family, please allow me to finish those tasks first. And then I completely surrender to this transformation that you're giving to me. This is a very, very, very real agreement, and the Kundalini typically will keep its end of the bargain. So you must keep your end of the bargain. Okay. These Kriyas will come, and I don't know anybody that has a job. Well, there are some people that have jobs that, it's okay to have Kriyas during that work, but for the most part, for the majority of the population, whether you're an English teacher or a massage therapist or a waiter, a driver, a manager, an owner of a company, an airline pilot, any of the many different vocations that we as humans partake of, most of them will not make room for Kriyas to occur. And so it's very, very important that you begin right off the bat to have that conversation with your Kundalini. Treat it like an individual, because it is an individual within you. It is a divine consciousness within you. And the agenda of this divine consciousness within you, this seed of divinity within you, is to transform your body into the flesh made divine, into a divine human being, as another person put it, homo luminosus, okay, the humanity of light. So I really, really encourage you to develop that communication with the Kundalini. It's very, very important for your process during these Kriyas. These Kriyas, for the most part, will last about 4 months. But as I said, everybody's different. I'm just looking at the averages for people that are having Kriyas. I know one person that's been having Kriyas for years. I know another person that just had a very few amount of Kriyas, and they went, into the next phase of Kundalini expression. So how long this manifests for you, once again, will depend upon your karma and also your levels of resistance. If you keep resisting the Kriyas will stay longer. The greater your surrender or your agreement to having the Kriyas come through you, they will pass as quickly as they should pass through your system. Okay, so realize that the Kriya phenomena can be transient for you. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, I'm going to have these spontaneous movements for the rest of my life. That's not going to work. This is not for the rest of your life. This is for, often, I'll say 4 months to 6 months of Kriya activity. And some of it can be quite severe. I have videos of people having Kriyas, and it looks quite strange to the uneducated onlooker. It really does. And if you are having Kundalini, And if you are having the Kriya phenomena, if you have a spouse, I will definitely ask you to let the spouse listen to this program. They need to know that they don't need to dial 911 or any emergency service, that nothing is wrong with you, the person having the Kriyas. It is just a phase that a person goes through during the Kundalini awakening process. And yet, this phase, when an average person looks at it and goes, oh my gosh, they're having seizures on the floor, call 911. This happens a lot. This is very common. And part of the reason I wanted to have this show, and I might want to cover some more of this next week, because it's very important that people know this is not an emergency situation. Once again, you will not swallow your tongue. You are not having a seizure, okay? You will not hyperventilate unless you do it from fear. And what I'm telling you is there is no need to fear this. This is not a disease. You're not having a neurological trauma at all. As a matter of fact, you're probably in a very healthy physical state to even have the grace of the Kundalini come to you. So once again, this is not an emergency medical situation. Now, if you want to go to the ER, then I suggest you do. You go to the ER, and they will give you the the medications that keep you from going into seizures, the anti-seizure medication. Typically, it will be quite strong, and you'll be in zombie land for a while. But what I am suggesting to you, and to those of you that are having Kriyas and may be in zombie land, I will suggest that you don't need antispasmodics or anti-seizure medication. You're not having seizures. You're not having petit mal or grand mal seizures. This is part of the Kundalini awakening process. So once again, you're going to need to match up your symptoms with the symptoms of Kundalini awakening. Find a healthcare provider that knows about Kundalini. They're not common, I have to admit. Most, 95, 99% of the medical staff do not know what Kundalini is, and therefore they have no other reference for it other than seizures. And so they will treat you to the best of their ability for seizures. And so, kind of be advised, look on the web and don't just depend on my information. I'm one person. Go look at other information and see what feels right for you. I am going to suggest for those of you that have Kundalini phenomena, well, you have Kundalini activated or awakened within your bodies. And that, from 4 to 6 months of a typical journey through the Kundalini platform of Kriyas, you will have automatic, spontaneous positioning of your physical body and your emotional body without your permission. You don't get to have choice in this. Kundalini takes over that choice unless you talk with it, unless you develop that bond of communication, which is easy. That is as easy as talking to someone on the telephone or talking to yourself. And I don't suggest you go around telling people, yeah, I'm having a conversation with my Kundalini to, slow down the Kriya activity, unless those people that you're talking with know about Kundalini, know that, there's nothing that needs to be cured. You don't need to go to a healer. You don't need to go to an acupuncturist. You don't need to go to any kind of a healthcare provider. You need to just let it take its course. Let it take its course. Don't resist it. Don't feel that you're sick. You're not sick. And allow it to take its course. It will disappear, 4 to 6 months, typically disappears. If it lasts longer, nothing is wrong. It just means that your personal process requires your Kriyas to last longer. I've known people, as I mentioned before, that have had Kriyas for years and years. And one guy is having them for 8 years, and these are the electrical Kriyas. And that can be quite disruptive. The emotional kriyas can last longer than the automatic positioning kriyas with the physical body. So, you're not having a psychological problem. You don't need to see a therapist. But if you want to, go see a therapist. Go see what helps you to become at ease with this, to reduce the levels of fear that you have about this. I'm open to any of you talking about these Kundalini Kriyas. I don't want you to suffer with fear. Most of this Kriya phenomena is terrifying because your choice has been abrogated. Your choice has been taken away. And it's been taken away by an unknown force within you. And we typically will go into a fear zone when our choice is taken away by an unknown force. That's typically, that's what diseases do. They force themselves on you and they take away your choice of good health. Well, this is not occurring. A disease is not occurring with this. You are not diseased. You are actually being blessed with the Kundalini. And as you go through the different body positionings that the Kundalini brings to you, including the shaking and the twitching and the eyes going up and the tongue going up and the fingers going into different mudras and standing on one foot and stretching out your legs this way and that and arching your spine this way and that, twisting, torquing, doing all the different positions that the body will do, this is natural. This is natural to the human condition. It's just, you have to understand that we are not finished evolving. And Kundalini is part of that evolution. It is a big part of the next stage of evolution that the human species is going to go through. And everybody will reach this state. Perhaps not in this lifetime, and I'm sorry to insinuate the whole idea of reincarnation, but it is a fact. Whether science can find agreement with that or not, eventually they will. So, with that in mind, allow these kriyas to occur. Now, I've spoken with you a bit about the physical positions, and once again, you can look into the Kundalini Yoga body positionings. What happened with the yoga and everything is that people wanted to have Kundalini back about 8,000 years ago when the Sanskriti culture in India. Kundalini was sought after by many members of that society, and they wanted to know how to get it, whether they were ready for it or not. They wanted that oneness with creation, and of course, everything on earth is really, all creatures on earth are very, very desirous of having the divine connection. And so they watched people having Kundalini, and they took notes. They said, okay, he's spreading his legs open, he's holding his big toe, and he's breathing in a certain pattern. Okay, we're writing this down. In order to get Kundalini, you have to do this, and that. And they went through, many, many, many different postures and automatic positioning that the Kriya phenomena offered for them to observe. And they made the decision that, well, if we do these Kriyas, then we're going to have Kundalini. And so this will awaken our Kundalini. And so this was one of the formats that the early peoples were using to try to awaken the Kundalini. Now, probably not the most accurate format, but then again, it's trial and error, and so you can't fault them for trying. And frankly, it's a helpful practice as well. Kundalini Yoga, I feel, is very helpful. Some of their devotional targets, past teachers and whatnot, that's not necessary. But it's not hurtful either. Devotion and Kundalini go very well together. Typically, they'll worship a dead teacher, and that's fine. That's fine. That way, you don't have to interact with a living one. Often they have living ones too, and so what I'm suggesting within the Kundalini Kriya understanding, you don't have to have a teacher. The teacher is the Kundalini within you. It will teach you what positions you need to assume, how long you need to assume them, what breathing needs to go along with it, and basically it will give you intuitive guidance. So really pay attention to your feelings while you're having these Kriyas. Let these Kriyas take priority on the decision-making process. Put your ego aside for a while. Let the tears flow. Let the body positions go, and don't get in the way of your evolution. Now, the mental mind will also have its Kriyas. Some of these Kriyas can be seen as extreme dullness. You won't remember your last name. Your telephone number, what's that? It's not quite as bad as that, but sometimes it can be. Extreme levels of dullness. And then to the other end of the spectrum, extreme levels of amazing intellectual prowess. To the point of brilliance. You will just know. You'll know things that you shouldn't know because you haven't studied it. So you will have information levels that are extreme, and this mental functioning, you'll want the extreme levels to continue, and you won't want the dullness. But what the Kundalini is actually doing within this paradigm, within the mental body paradigm, is that it's expanding the spectrum of mental experience. It's expanding it. So you're not far beyond what you've studied or what you've been programmed to know or what you've been taught your whole life. You're tied into a new sequence of gaining information, and knowingness comes naturally to you. It is not, it won't conform to your ego desires. So you won't be able to know, which slot machine do I put my money in so that I can win? On the one hand, and on the other hand, it will, but that won't be the Kriya so much speaking. That would be the actual consciousness of the Kundalini speaking to you. The mental Kriyas, they're shorter lived than say the emotional or the physical Kriyas. It is understood that in your life in the Western societies, you have to use your mental mind quite a bit, and it may be dull for you while you're sleeping or while you're just laying around the house. But when you get behind the wheel, it is understood that if you continue to have such mental dullness behind the wheel, it could kill you and other people, and that is not within the evolutionary expression of the Kundalini. It is not anti-life. So you'll sharpen up so that you can drive, or so that you can do your job, so that you can get the kids ready for school, make their lunches, get them dressed, whatever. So don't worry about that. But the mental Kriyas do occur, and they come in spikes. You'll have peaks and valleys of that, as well as the emotional Kriyas. The emotional Kriyas can be a little more dangerous because all of a sudden you're just going off on people that under similar circumstances you would never go off on. I want you to be aware of that. Somebody can say something to you that will just really, really irritate you. And whereas before you may have just laughed it off or whatever, but now because you're having this emotional Kriya, it can become super, super sensitive. And I would just realize that this is Kundalini. This is Kundalini. Take a few breaths through your nose, just your nose, really, really understand, and let it go. Let it go. The Kundalini will also help you let this go, but you have to go into this within certain activities of choosing to let this go. Just as it will with anger or irritation, it will amplify love. Extreme love will occur to you. You will fall into convulsions of love. You will see the slightest action of a loving or kind gesture from one person to another, and this will bring you into tears of love. And this can elevate into bliss. And with bliss, once again, your choice is taken away, and you are consumed with heaving, loving, blissful expressions of joy and love, and your tears once again are just pouring from your eyes, and you may be crying, sobbing with joy. This is what happens to me, and once again, this area goes way beyond words, way beyond words. So the blissful Kriya is something that really doesn't go away. That part of it will stay with you because it is part of the new spectrum of your new human experience. Your Homo luminosus experience, this new evolution that you are a part of now. The bliss is kind of a permanent fixture. At least I have found that for myself, and I've seen it in other people as well. Okay, some people, because of their karma or where they won't have that as much, or it may be just a transient phenomena. But for others, it just goes on and on and on and on and on, and still on. For others, it goes into ecstatic bliss, where you don't even remember what you were doing when you're having ecstatic bliss. I mean, you just have, first of all, you don't have a choice. And so the ecstatic bliss comes and you're walking with it. It's like, versus when I'm giving a seminar, sometimes I go straight into ecstasy when I'm giving a certain level of information, and I have to warn people that this may occur, because I've learned the hard way. It occurs when the Kundalini really is happy with the information that I'm giving. And then what happens is I just kind of blank out, and I don't remember where I'm at. And I know that I can still stand, but the tears are flowing, the body's heaving, and the love is just expanding out from my body and from my being into the people that are there. And then when it stops, I have an assistant kind of remind me what I was doing, what I was saying, and where I was going with it. So that is part of the Kundalini Kriya platform. Do we have any callers with any questions, Santara? Santara, I'm going to put you on here. There you are. Can you hear me, Santara?
Oh, 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Do we have any callers?
We have one caller on the line, yes, and David. Can you hang on 2 seconds and I'll connect you?
That's okay. That's okay. All right. Well, I mean, I can see that not everybody is going to agree with what I have to say.
Okay. David is online now, Chris. Hello, David.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, David. So you don't like 10% of what I'm saying?
No, I like everything you are saying. There's just an addition. There's a caveat, a footnote, a side note that must be interjected.
Okay.
That yes, while the Kundalini awakening process is a natural process, and that you mustn't go into fear and lose sight of that you mustn't succumb to fear and get into panic and start taking medications or anything like that. Very often the symptoms can even be misinterpreted by doctors, so you have to be very conscious of that when you're dealing with any medical professionals. But at the same time, many people don't have their body state may not be in a position to handle the energies until or while they're happening, and they do need outside support, as in going to an acupuncturist or going to a doctor. I myself had 4 heart attacks while I went through my Kundalini awakening. This is okay. I dealt with it, but if I hadn't learned from having been exposed to the medical profession, who they said, "Oh yeah, you've got an erratic heart rate," but the Western doctors in the city I was in were not very helpful, and I ended up doing self-Reiki and calling upon the Master Realm and calming myself and breathing through it. And then on the way, when I left the hospital, I started to run, and I got my heart rhythm back in its right function by processing it myself. And the next 2 heart attacks, I did the same thing, and I was okay. The fourth one though, I crawled on my hands and knees to my acupuncturist, who's actually a really powerful healer in other ways as well. But when I crawled into her clinic, I was in a full-blown heart attack. I was dying. And if I hadn't had outside intervention, I would not be here to tell you this.
Well, I agree that to some degree people do need to have outside intervention, and I do counsel people that if they need to go to the ER, then they go to the ER. That's just it. I think because the show was rushed because of the technical difficulties or something. You didn't say that. You were stressing. You stressed very clearly that they shouldn't go to an ER. That they shouldn't panic and go to an ER. Well, they're not for the Kriyas, but no, I agree that. And I was talking. When the show first started, I was talking for a good 10 minutes, and I guess nobody was hearing anything. And I did say that. So thank you for that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. It's because I knew it was an accident. I knew it was an accident.
Oh yeah. First of all, I'm not in a position to tell people not to go to the ER for medical conditions. What I'm suggesting is Kriyas are not medical conditions. They are Kundalini conditions, but they look like a medical condition. And I agree with you. I think that people should go to an ER if they feel that they need to. So, for instance, let's take your situation.
Although I strongly suggest that everybody has a good relationship already with an acupuncture-trained healer who they can go to, who they have a good relationship with to the extent that they can show up as an emergency.
Yeah.
So that they could ideally go there rather than a medical doctor, because the medical doctor's way of treating things is not very good.
No. And David, I'm going to go into this more since you bring it up, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sharing a bit of your process with us. Thank you.
Can I tell everybody this, that I am a holistic therapist. I have 16 years of clinical practice. I have more than one lifetimes of study on the subject of wellness. I have 23 degrees in different therapeutic techniques, including being a paramedic in the military. So
right on.
I'm really qualified when I can say that after research into other clinical practices as well as my own experience, that the best way to deal with a heart attack is to not fall down, but to put one foot in front of the other and walk faster and break into a run as quickly as you can, and then run until the heart stabilizes and you just feel exhausted as opposed to having the heart attack. This actually pumps the blood through your body. It doesn't matter if your heart stopped. you actually would be able to continue running as long as you did continue running, because you're pumping the blood using the body as a heart muscle instead of relying on the heart to do it. You're also increasing your chi energy and increasing the electromagnetic stimulus that causes your heart to beat in any case, as well as pumping your entire endocrine system, which will stabilize that same rhythm.
Okay, yeah. So I appreciate that information. I think that information is very helpful for people, and I'm going to go into that. And I once again, I want to thank you, for letting us know.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I'm going to hang up.
All right. So David brings up a really good situation. First of all, go to a healthcare provider. If it's an acupuncturist that you're comfortable with, then go there. If it's a medical doctor that you're comfortable with, then go there. Seriously, folks. If you feel that you have a medical condition, even though it may be Kundalini induced, go and go to a healthcare practitioner, whether it's an ER or an acupuncturist or, a shaman. Go to the sources of care that you feel have the best for you. Now, with what David mentioned, that he had 4 heart attacks, and often the Kundalini will engender a cardiac event in a person, not a heart attack per se, but extremely high heart rate can occur. Extremely high blood pressure can occur. Extremely low heart rates can occur. Extremely low blood pressure can occur. Once again, this is a kriya of the physical system that is expanding the spectrum of what the human can have. And I like what David had to say about running. Often I will counsel people to get out there and do some hard work during their Kriya phenomena stage. Get out and get the cardiovascular system pumping. Do not treat this by lying down on the couch. And I respect David's experience in being a paramedic and all the other different degrees that he has with that. I don't know him personally. This is the first time I've interacted on a verbal level with him. But I support what he says as far as getting out there and just starting to walk and then maybe jog and then maybe break into a run. Is what you do is you're augmenting what the Kundalini wants you to do. The Kundalini doesn't want you to lay down and have a heart attack. Not at all. Not at all. It wants you to respond to that increased heart rate. And these cardiac events, not everybody's going to have them. I have to reiterate that. Not everybody's going to have 4 heart attacks like David did. Many people will not have anything like that. Okay. So once again, this is individual. But if you do have something like what David described, don't panic. As he said, don't panic. Don't go into fear. Find a healthcare practitioner of your choice, and what you feel has the best for you. I see that we have another question here. Amelia?
No, Kristen, no other question.
It says she will press the number 1 if she has a question.
Yes, there's a lady listening online. Yes.
No,
maybe I go check with her because okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so continuing. Yes, the cardiovascular system will have kriyas. The endocrine system actually will also have kriyas. The endocrine system, all of a sudden you'll have less of a sex drive, or you'll have more of a sex drive. All the different systems in the human being, the endocrine, the cardiovascular, the musculature, all of these will go through Kundalini Kriya phenomena. But once again, once the Kriya has done its job with the person, it stops. Once you, go ahead.
Sorry, Chris, and the lady that was listening does have a question, so I'm going to put her through. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Hello, you're through now.
Hi, I have a question.
Hello. Hi, who am I speaking with?
Sophia.
Hi, Sophia. Hello.
So I've definitely had many Kundalini experiences, and I actually love it. And I think it's exciting, and it's just inspirational kind of, it moves through your body and creates a vast awareness. Also, but what I did experience last year was this person that does this it's a workshop, and I know it's geared to like working with the Kundalini. And what happened with me was I had this horrific experience. It lasted 2 months of the dark side, feeling completely gloomy, and that's not my nature. I'm a very optimistic, vigorous, and energetic person, and it was like a wet blanket being over me, and it was like not having enough support because it is such a unique experience. Not everyone can help you with that. So
you have to be very careful who you look for support from.
Right, and it's such a unique expression of who, just having spiritual support, emotional support, and how to move through that realm of darkness. I want you to know if you have any questions on that or any comments.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you went through what I call a DNS, a dark night soul. And this is a very common occurrence with Kundalini, and a lot of it has to do with the ego-based emotional detritus that can collect within a lifetime, the negative programming that we receive, the fear-based entertainments that we partake of, the emotional traumas that we receive, and some of those are associated with actual physical trauma. But the DNS is a very, first of all, it is a transient thing. Yours lasted 2 months. For other people, it can last, a year or two. And are you? I'm sorry.
No, I was
Yeah, and they, quite often will wind up in a psychiatric facility. The DN, if you know that you're having a dark night soul, it is so much better. It is so much better because you know.
Now that I know what you're saying, now that I know this, and if it were to happen again, the awareness would be completely different than going in like completely blindfolded.
But part of the point is for you to go in blindfolded.
Okay.
Part of the strengthening of your current awakening process is there because you went through the dark night soul. You had to have that. And so just as we, when we exercise a muscle and it hurts us, like for instance, I've been walking, I'm doing like 20 miles a week. I should probably be doing more of it. But the other week I did like 30, and oh my gosh, it was my leg. But I knew that it was only sore because the muscles weren't used to doing that. But it's the same thing with the dark night soul.
Okay.
You're dealing with issues of fear. You're dealing with issues of unknown. Like, my God, this is so not like me.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right. The dark night soul was accompanied by some very, very horrific entity interaction as well. And not for everybody, but for many people, the entities choose that time to really, really mess with a person's psychology.
I got it.
And,
yeah.
But
you're saying everything that I freaking already know, which is so great because it was like you just gave me just more. I mean, again, I wasn't supposed to know I'm going to have that experience, but coming on the other end, it did make me stronger and more aware, and revealed a lot of stuff that was dormant. And even if I'm were to have that again, but now I know like how to manage myself better. So.
Oh yeah, I can tell from your voice that you're actually doing very well, very well.
Thank you. And I feel great, and I feel like.
And I really like what you said at the beginning, that Kundalini is this awesomely beautiful experience. It's so beautiful that it hurts sometimes.
It's like addiction. I'm addicted to it.
There is. You're addicted to your own evolution, so that's very cool.
Totally.
And thank you for bringing that up. That is, the DNS itself, Sophie, really is its own show.
I can imagine.
Typically in the ancient world, when a person was having a dark night soul, they had completed a level of study. They had completed a level of study by the ancient people to prepare a person for a dark night soul, brought about by Kundalini. But here in the West, we don't have that knowledge. We're actually deprived of that knowledge because it doesn't walk hand in hand with scientific inquiry. Okay.
Wow. Is this your only show?
I'm sorry?
Is this your only show on Wednesdays?
I do. I guess it is. Every Wednesday I do a show. Yeah.
It's awesome. I want to continue to listen to your show. It's very insightful, and I definitely love to learn different things.
Well, I want to thank you, Sophie, for calling in, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit more about the DNN because you brought it up.
Thank you.
And man, thank you for calling.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Okay. So the DNS, Dark Night Soul. This comes after the Kriyas. The Kriyas have kind of come and gone. The entity stage has kind of come and gone, but it may still be hanging on a little bit. The Dark Night Soul is a level of crumbling the person's current understanding of life, understanding of emotional balance, understanding of what is actually out there as far as creation is concerned. It really rips the veil away from you. The veil being, the world is supported by a 5-sense paradigm. The DNS crumbles that reality and opens you to areas of introspection and experience that contradict some of the very foundations of what a person considers their reality to be, especially here in the West. So with that understanding, for those of you that have Kundalini and say you're in the say within the first year of it, don't worry about the DNS. The DNS will come, and yes, you may have to revisit some of the things that you've been repressed, as Sophie mentioned. Some things that a person represses will come up once again to be dealt with. Your fears can come up once again to be dealt with. It is not anything to run away from, and you can't. You can't run away from it. You can't run away from a DNS any more than you can run away from the absolute sheer joy, beauty, love, ecstasy, and happiness that the Kundalini brings to you. And once again, if we look at it from a perspective of a Kriya, a DNS is like a grand Kriya, a Kriya that involves all of the other different Kriyas at the same time, and works it into a time of testing for the individual. Time to test these new evolved aspects of this human being. Okay, so the Kundalini looks at Sophie. Okay, well, Sophie's reached this level of evolution. She's doing very well. Okay, let's go ahead and put her to the test. And so, boom, DNS is given, and you know, and she struggles with it. She struggles for as she said, 2 months. You know, and she correctly sought out support for her, you know, for her emotionally and all the other areas, and she's come out of it. And did you hear the confidence and the competency inside of her voice? I did. So once again, Sophie, I tip my hat to you, and I congratulate you for processing that dark night soul in such a positive way. And I suggest that all of you can process this type of a grand Kriya that way. Before I run out of time here, I'm going to say to people once again, I apologize for Blog Talk Radio having its Kriya. Hopefully it won't happen next week. I will be doing a show just on the Dark Night Soul. If you have any questions about Kundalini Kriyas at all, please you can reach me on Facebook at chrism.kundalini on Facebook. You can join the Kundalini Awakening or Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 or Kundalini Ashram here on Facebook, or you can join Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at yahoogroups.com. So we have a very an excellent Yahoo group as well. You can also contact me privately at kfireforall at yahoo.com. That's all one word, KFIREFORALL at yahoo.com. And you can also collect some of this information at the Kundalini Awakening Systems 1.com website, and I would like to thank Glenn for setting that up and maintaining that website. Thank you, Glenn. I'll be having a retreat in April at Lake Tahoe, and this will be what Centara has called a residential retreat, where we will gather with people who are interested in Kundalini, interested in learning about it, interested in activating it, and also gaining information inside of a current awakening. We will be there in Lake Tahoe in April, and please look at the Blog Talk Radio site for this, or the Facebook site, or the Yahoo site for more information on that. If you are interested in attending this retreat, please email kundalinimatters@gmail.com, and Centara will come back to you with any information. Is that right, Centara?
That's right. That's right, Chrism. kundalinimatters@gmail.com. Absolutely.
Thank you. I have about 2 minutes left, and the next show is going to be on entities, because like the Kriyas, it is a very life-changing subject within the Kundalini to hear your voice called, or to see a phantom, you know, talking to you, or walking into your kid's room or something like that. Things that only occur to a person outside of the five sense paradigm. I would like to thank David for calling and offering his absolutely excellent information, and as well as Sophie for calling and offering her absolutely excellent information. Both of you, thank you very much for calling in. I would like to thank Centara, Aaron Centara, and I'd like to thank Eileen Morrow for her help as well. And I'd like to say hello to all of the people listening on the archives. I know you, I love you, and I always will. And if you have any questions, for those of you that are listening on the archives, please feel free to contact me, and I will get back to you, and we can establish a communication based on whatever question you may have. So once again, everyone, thank you for listening. I apologize for Blog Talk Radio, but we will go ahead and leave this as an archive.
Indeed.
Goodbye,
Well,
everybody.
goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.